Financial market disruptions could we expect in other countries such as the UK?
Undoubtedly, for Canada and Mexico, this is not a light matter. They are the most deeply implicated. And in terms of the size, China is also almost equally deeply implicated, but China is a much bigger economy. But Canada and Mexico, in terms of their relative importance of the trade to the United States, it's much higher for them. So they're going to have a nasty shock. They may suffer a recession. But the point is that discussions are underway, and I'm paying more attention to Canada than Mexico, but I have no doubt similar discussions are taking place in Mexico about essentially using this moment not to just respond to an emergency, but to conduct a transformation of Canada's relations with the rest of the world economy. And I think that this transformation is already occurring, like I say, within Canada, important changes are occurring. So that's why I say that the broader implications will be much more for the US, and they will be much more adverse than Trump imagines. And I also suspect that as a result, I think Trump's course in this trade war is going to be anything but straight. I think he's going to have to do some pretty fancy footwork to avoid the worst results of what he's proposing. And you asked what would be the some of the implications for, I think, US financial markets and so on. I would say that it is very likely that financial markets are not going to like this. There may be direct impacts on falls in the stock markets, as indeed we saw last week already. And that is not going to be liked by the enormous, by the small number of people who hold so much political power in the United States, whose wealth rests on these markets being up. And the second reason that markets are not going to like it is that invariably, contrary to what Trump says, the cost of these tariffs will be borne by American consumers. This will lead to inflation going up. This will prevent the Federal Reserve from lowering interest rates. And unless the Federal Reserve is able to lower interest rates, the wealth of the really wealthy in the United States, which rests on borrowing cheaply from banks in order to engage in leverage trading of vast quantities of money in various asset markets, this wealth will eventually diminish. And you may even see potentially a financial market crash if the Federal Reserve is not able to contain inflation and not able to decrease interest rates.